What's up guys, Lemon Collects here, and today I'm doing another review, this time of the Marvel Legends Captain America, the First Avenger, Captain America and Peggy Carter 2-pack. So I've had this for a very long time. As you can see, I've beaten up the boxes. I got this off Amazon on the 24th of May. I just went back and checked, so yeah, I've had it for a while, and it came out, I think it was part of the 10 years, MCU 10 years in 2018. It has that sort of style of packaging, so yeah, that should be interesting. But yeah, finally reviewing it. Yeah, let's crack this thing open. But first, look at the box. So we get the two titles, Peggy Carter and Captain America. The figures look in the box. Get that Marvel Legends logo. Captain America, the First Avenger logo. Get a picture of Cap on the side. On this side, Peggy. Get a nice Marvel logo at the top. Round to the back, we get a movie poster and a picture of the two characters. Warnings and stuff all over it. So yeah, let's crack these open. So about the packaging with this figure, we do get a fairly decent range of accessories. No changeable hands for either of the figures, and no changeable head for the Peggy Carter figure. But we do get Captain America head sculpt. So it comes with one on the figure, and then you get a spare. And these are almost identical. I believe the difference is that one is designed to have the helmet on there. But yeah, the expressions are the same. It would have been nice if they had done a different expressions for the different head sculpts, but yeah, it's still nice to have one that is more usable for the helmet back there. I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's this one. It's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, the hair looks a bit smaller. So anyway, speaking of the helmet, here we have it, looking very nice, obviously from the first Avenger movie. And yeah, nice paint details on there, a little A covered up by the goggles. And we get this loose strap. It doesn't close, but yeah, it just hangs loose, which I still think looks really cool. So in terms of other accessories, firstly we get this machine gun, which is very nice. The paint's pretty nice. Would be nice to maybe get a shinier paint, but instead we do just get this matte grey. But it's still nice looking, nice with all the brown paint. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'll see how the figure holds it in a minute. Yeah, really nice they added that. We also get this pistol, which I guess is for either Peggy Carter or Cap. They both have gun holding hands, and then Cap also has a holster. Anyway, it looks really nice. You get that brown handle. Again, this paint looks a little bit shiny, but it's kind of mattish. And when I'm talking about shiny, I'm talking about this knife. As you can see, we get some really shiny paint for this knife. Yeah, which is looking really nice. Get the brown handle, and yeah, I do think this looks really cool. That paint, it's very nice on there. So we get two shields with this figure. We get the silver shield and the original shield. First look at this one, it looks really great. This is classic shield he gets before he gets the vibranium one, and it's got all this dirt on it from when he goes out on his first mission, before he gets the other shield. Yeah, it's really white on the back. You get these brown handles, which look pretty nice. Yeah, well, they do look pretty small. I have to see how the figure holds it. Yeah, the paint detail on that is pretty nice. This grey shield or silver shield is a little bit disappointing. I'll show you in comparison to some other figures in a bit, but yeah, it's got all this marbling. I'm not sure it's marbling or might be from the sculpt. As you can see, it does sort of line up. But yeah, it doesn't look too great. It's sort of, you know what I mean, you see those lines and that line up there from the moulding. Obviously in the film it was pristine silver shield. So yeah, that does look a bit annoying. It is extremely noticeable. But yeah, it's nice to get the shield, a version of this shield before it gets to paint in. Peggy shoots him. So yeah, pretty cool, but I wish they had done this sort of differently. So first of all, let's take a look at the Peggy Carter figure. Here we have her, looking pretty nice, from the first Avengers movie, and yeah, looking pretty cool. If we can zoom in, get that head sculpt, and I think it is a pretty good head sculpt. It doesn't look amazing, doesn't look, you know, sort of uncanny, sort of amazing detail like that Tony Stark head sculpt was, but it's not bad like this Haley Atwell. I'll probably put a picture next to it here. And yes, anyway, the sculpt on the hair is pretty nice as well, pretty accurate to the film. And we get this sort of suit with the skirt, the sort of Royal Navy sort of thing. Maybe not navy, but one of them. And yeah, looking pretty nice. You get the gold detail on there. On the wings, we've got the buttons as well. Up on the shoulders, you get some more gold detail there. Nothing on the back. And then we get this nice skirt. Sort of. Be nice if it came apart either side or at the back to allow some leg movement, but it doesn't. It's just sort of still. Usually you see like a cut down there and down that side to allow it to sort of stretch some leg movement, but it doesn't. Other than that, it's not too bad. Get these nice hands which have a gun holding hand and a sort of I don't know, I guess what I'd see it's like a sword holding hand or like a weapon holding hand, which doesn't come with any. Maybe it'd be nice to we just got like a normal relaxed palm hand. But yeah, it's sort of relaxed, so it looks okay from most angles. And then the gun holding hand, I'll show you with the gun. There we go. My finger's not in the trigger hole, but I'm not sure if it will go in. There we go. Cheshire can hold the gun and it looks pretty good. Yeah, I reckon that looks pretty accurate from the scene when she shoots the shield, if you remember that scene. And yeah, pretty good. She has nowhere to store it, but she can hold it. Obviously she doesn't store it usually. And down here we get the shoes. So yeah, she can really hold the machine gun as well, though it's not, I don't think it's meant for her, but she can sort of hold it if you want to have that. Sort of a mafia boss. Yeah, I think she can probably hold the shield as well if you want. She might be able to hold it better than Cat, as these shield holes are pretty small. Yeah, you want to hold the shield. You get a nice Captain Carter vibe going on. And while we're at it, speaking of Captain Carter, I mean, stay tuned. That review will be coming soon. So in terms of articulation, the head moves back that far, which is not amazing, but you can have a looking up at the sky sort of, and it goes down that far. Not too bad. Goes all the way around, not hindered by the hair. And we do get a little bit of side to side pivot. Shoulders move up that high, so not super high but not too bad. Goes all the way around. We get a single joint at the elbow, and it does swivel. No joint up there or anything, and it is only a single joint, so not amazing. You get a wrist swivel and a bend that far and that far. At the waist we get a swivel and a arch forward that far, backwards that far, so you can get looking up even further if you really wanted. But you can't just get a flying, but I don't know what you'd want to do for this figure anyway. But yeah, in terms of leg articulation, this is where we start to run into some issues. Forward, I mean that far, I guess, not really at all. Backwards, again, not really at all. Outwards, again, not really at all. You do get double joints at the knee, but you can only bend them about that far. You can sort of bend them further, but it is going to sort of squash this skirt. So the feet get forward that far, backwards that far, and I don't think we do get quite stiff. Kind of hard to tell. And the one thing I forgot to mention is you get these lines at the back, and those are for not sure, sort of leggings or those sort of things that you wear in the cold. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, a nice Peggy Carter figure. Not quite buff enough for the What If Peggy Carter, but I guess you could probably have them as you could probably have this as a non-costumed Peggy Carter from What If, because in the What If show she does wear that when she's not in the costume. And here we have the Steve Rogers Captain America figure from the first Avenger, and yeah, I think this figure looks pretty nice overall from just sort of early glances. First thing I noticed, the neck does seem a little bit long compared to the head, a little bit odd. Same on both head sculpts. And like I said before, definitely really nice to get different expressions. The only different thing we have is the hair, and he just looks really bored in these expressions. But yeah, the hair is slightly different. I think one's for the helmet and one's not. But other than that, we don't get much difference. I guess they are sort of different haircuts, but yeah, really nice to get different expressions as well. So speaking of the helmet, I believe this is the helmet head sculpt, the one that you're supposed to use with the helmet. But yeah, like I said, it comes loose. It's not attached to a head sculpt, and then you can just stick it on like that. And yeah, it looks a little bit big. Doesn't look too bad or anything. But yeah, it does look sort of, it's quite noticeable, and it sort of doesn't look right all the time, but it doesn't look too bad. You have to sort of mess with it a bit, get the right angle. I guess it sort of depends where you're taking the picture from and what angle you want to have it at. In terms of the other head, I'll show you that now. Just put this one off. This neck joint is very stiff on mine, and like I said, I like to show you how to do it. Don't bother cutting. There we go. And yeah, there's that head sculpt. Like I said, same issue with the neck, and I don't think the helmet fits. as well on that head. Actually, maybe this is the head sculpt for the helmet. They both look about the same, but if they're both for the helmet, then why have two head sculpts that are almost identical other than the hair if one's not for the helmet? But I think they look about the same with the helmet on. So yeah, does just seem a bit odd, but you know, end of the world anyway. So yeah, in terms of the rest of the figure, as you can see, he's got his blue Captain America uniform underneath. That's from when he's doing all the stage shows. So on top of that, we get the nice leather jacket, which looks really nice. We get some nice detail all over, especially in the arms. Shows some sort of weathering, sort of pattern. You get that brown there, and he sort of goes through. And yeah, it does look very leathery. They've done the texture really well on that in the sculpt. It's this big old utility belt, which has this really nice detail that they added the silver buttons on, which is quite nice. And then it comes up with a load of straps around the back, and then you have this green sort of set of pouches that goes across. Nice to have that, the change in colour just a little bit, but really adds sort of depth to the figure. And yeah, it looks really nice, the whole torso area. And we get the gloves. They're not hands, they are leather gloves, I believe. And they're not too bad. They're just there's not really any texture or anything. I'm not sure if that's moulding or there is supposed to be seams on the gloves. Yeah, it works sort of either way. Then we get a trigger holding hand and another hand which is sort of another trigger holding hand, but it's not as aggressive. It's more of a sort of weapon holding hand, anything, but it does have a slight trigger. I guess it's probably for holding the bottom of that bit, and a knife. And attached to his belt, we do get this nice holster, which does have a working flap. It has US sculpted in, which is pretty nice. Yeah, it does have a working flap, a bit like the Union Jack figure, similar to that, but not quite. It's not the same sculpt or anything, but it sort of works in a similar way. And then you can try to fit the gun in there, but it's sort of kind of squeezed to do. You have to do it off camera, but yeah, you can get it in there and you can close it off. It's actually easier to close afterwards than the Union Jack one was. It just closes pretty easily, and yeah, it does look really nice like that. And then obviously you can just unclip it and take the gun out whenever you want. I'll leave it clipped for now. Moving on to the knife accessory, that goes in here, down here. There we bend it a bit, but yeah, it's sort of a tight fit. I think that's the right way, but you can get it all the way in, just about. There we go. And yeah, that sort of adds to the look. It looks really nice. I will show him holding the accessories in just a minute. Yeah, on these trousers we get these nice big pouches. We get the added detail of a painted strap around there, but not on this side. But yeah, nice big pouches on the US sort of army trousers. Get some nice painted knee pads there. On this side as well, they're sort of covered by this strap for the knife holster, which talking about does look really nice, especially with the knife in. Sort of adds a lot to the design. I think it looks really nice. Moving down to the feet, we get these boots with this sort of boot cover, which is a different colour. Looks really nice. Again with the boots, look really nice. We get a bit of detail on them. I do really like the paint and the sculpt. It works really well for these boots, and they are nice big. We get some nice sculpt detail on the bottom. But yeah, he doesn't have as much of an issue standing up as like every other Marvel Legends figure does. Like I said, you can pull the knife out of the holster and you can hold it forwards like that if you want. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And you also chuck it in the other way and have him holding it backwards, although he's a little bit bent, but maybe that was me from putting it in the holster. But yeah, and then you just chuck it back in there. And the gun, you just pop it out of the holster. Like I said before, it's a bit stiff and it may take a little bit of effort. Yeah, then you can just put that in the trigger hand there. The trigger goes in, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, it doesn't look too small or too big or anything. I think that looks pretty nice. You can have all sort of poses with that. Next we got the machine gun, but like a sort of Tommy gun, but it's got a magazine instead of like a big drum. But yeah, just chuck that in that trigger holding hand again. It's a bit difficult as the sort of handle butt thing of the gun doesn't always go in. Trigger finger won't also go in that hole because it's quite a long way away, but yeah, you can get him still holding that, looking pretty good in one hand. I'm not sure if you can get him to hold it in two hands. It might be difficult. It looks like you can. There, slot yeah, there you go. You can have him holding it like that, and I do think that looks pretty good. You can also probably have him lift it up a bit for like shooting scenes. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. Although it's fairly evident his finger isn't on the trigger. It looks really good, but you know, there's not too much an issue. It does still look great. So in terms of shields, I should say, firstly, this shield. Yeah, I thought I might have an issue with this. I can't seem to get it on his hand or his arm. It's quite small, as I said. These holes. I'll try and squeeze it in off camera, but I'm worried a bit about damaging the paint and the sculpt. So I managed to get it in this far without too much effort, but we won't go any further than that. And his hand isn't quite in there, so it looks a bit odd from there, but it does look alright if you have him sort of holding it like that. So you know, it's not too bad, but yeah, it doesn't go all the way in. But you don't really need the support of him holding that hand. But if you have him like that, you will sort of see it from the top. But you know, it's not too bad. You could probably sort of squish that in there, maybe heat it up or something. But yeah. Yeah, so if you sort of ignore that part of it and just sort of look at this shield, I do actually think it looks really nice, and you know, actually I think it's gonna be really fun sort of posing around with it. Yeah, I do actually really like the way it looks. Chuck the helmet on as well, and yeah, I think it actually does look pretty good. Helmet's not quite on straight, but yeah, I do think it looks pretty nice. Yeah, not too bad at all. It is a bit annoying that the hand doesn't go in that far, but it's not the end of the world or anything. I can't actually get it off. As you see, I did put a bit of effort into getting it on there. And on the other shield is a just a mold of a basic Captain America shield. I'll do a comparison in a bit. But yeah, that one should be easier, I reckon. When that goes on his left hand. Yeah, see, that one has a much wider grip, so you can get it on there much easier. And again, he never actually uses it like this. He only ever holds it up once before it's painted, and like uses it when Peggy shoots him, and he's not wearing this. He's wearing a suit, I think, like an army suit. Yeah, it does still look pretty cool. Not too bad. So in terms of articulation of this figure, the head can look up that far, I think. There we go. And then down. The neck joint is quite stiff. Down that far, I think. It's moved all the way around, and we do get a slight tilt side to side. The arms move up about that high, so not as high as they could, but it's not the end of the world. And they go all the way around, although you can't have them pointed straight up. They just go like that, but yeah, it's not really matter. And we get a bicep swivel, double joint at the elbow, as you can see there. Wrist swivel and bend forward that far and backwards that far, slightly hindered by the cuff on the jacket. We do get an ab crunch under these belts, and so it's forward that far, which is pretty good, although the back does look quite weird. And then back that far, and yeah, considering he has all these straps, yeah, it does work quite well. And then we do get a swivel on that as well. We get a swivel there, and we also get a waist swivel. You got to be careful, because if you swivel the waist and then swivel the top, you'll end up getting that torso piece wonky. Anyway, he kicks forward that far, which is good. Backwards pretty far. Out both sides, and that holster is flexible enough to move out of the way. You get a thigh swivel, that's quite stiff on this one. You get a double bend, that one is ridiculously stiff. Try and get that bent, as you can hear it creaking and everything. There we go, double bend at the knee. There we go. And then you get a boot rotation, forward that far, up that far, and you do get an ankle pivot. So overall, the articulation is not too bad at all. Very good, not too many issues with stiffness other than those legs, but it is doable, it is usable. Yeah, other than that, not too many issues. These arms are not too stiff or anything. Yeah, I think the articulation is definitely how do I say that, passable, I guess. Acceptable, yeah, acceptable is how I go. Yeah, and it's good for the figure, but it's not like over the moon blowing me away or anything. So if anyone knows in the comments why there is these two different head sculpts, please let me know, because I genuinely, the hair is slightly different than that. I can't think why they would bother. I always thought one was for the helmet, but the helmet really just fits about the same on both heads. It doesn't fit better on one over the other, so I can't think that it is the helmet. So yeah, I can't really think why. There doesn't really seem to be that much difference, just the hair at the front there, which is a bit odd. So here we have them next to each other. Peggy is definitely a difficult figure to balance As you can see, he's a lot taller and everything, and they do think they scale well overall, because obviously he's a big super soldier. So now let's get into some comparisons. So obviously, until I do that Captain Carter review, I don't have any other Peggy's to compare it to, but for now I'll just do it next to a regular female figure. So she's next to Captain Marvel, who by the way has an incredibly bent wonky leg, as you can see there, which is just stand really wide. And here we have him next to some other MCU caps. We've got the Civil War 3-pack cap, Endgame cap, and Infinity War cap. And I thought I'd chuck in Gameverse cap, which I do want to mention, even getting this out now, I still really like this sculpt for this body mold for Captain America. Yeah, the stealth version is so much better. Obviously the paint one, not to the fault of the Marvel Legend, to the fault of the design, I reckon, but it was also a bit of the Marvel Legend, but the paint was pretty bad on the original version, but the mold is really good, and it has really come out well for this stealth version. I'm not sure how well I mentioned that in my review, but yeah. And here is Cap next to the comic Red Skull. So I thought I'd do a bit of a shield comparison. Here we have the I'm not sure what to call it, I guess the sort of show shield compared to the other MCU shields. Obviously very different, but the main one I look at is the shield. As you can see, it's not quite the same sculpt as this one, but it is the same sculpt as this one, I believe. As you can see, flat star, whereas this one is raised just a little bit, as you can see there, but these are indented and they have these lines inside. Yeah, it's the same sculpt as that one. As you can see on the back and everything, it's the same little hole. And yeah, you can definitely tell it's the same shield, which is obviously supposed to. Obviously, I mean, I'm trying to say I'm glad they used the same mold. Not glad they used a different mold for this one, because obviously he does have the lines in between, and I don't know why it doesn't on there. But yeah, I just wish they'd sort of figured out how to stop that marbling, or whatever you call it, happening. Did want to mention, I've got this review coming up in a little while, but they did update the sculpt for this new figure, as you can see. It also has lines around the middle ring, which I think is more accurate, and I think the star is different as well. Yeah, they definitely changed it. It doesn't have the lines there, and the star is slightly different, but I do think this colour is better than that weird sort of cherry, or bright red, I guess is what you should call it, colour. Now let's get into the posing. So overall, I do not think this is a bad 2-pack in any way. There's a few problems, especially with those head sculpts that don't really make too much sense to me. But anyway, yeah, can't wait to get some pictures taken. And yeah, it may not quite live up to 2021 standards, as we're getting much better figures now. But yeah, for the time, and looking back at the past, is pretty good. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe.